I want it on the track. Not practice. Mitch, come on. Kurt Busch wants to race you. Which shoots better, the pink or the blue?
Don't be acting with the pink.
Got the pink.
I hope you got that. I hope you got that, Doug.
Oh, I got it.
Do you see him bump me out of the way? Huh? Look, right here. What does it say?
The number's after.
What does that say? Kurt Busch.
There's no bumping.
Yeah.
Come on, get him. Get him.
I appreciate you coming out here today to do this and race against all the local media here in Las Vegas. But can I remind you that on the back of the go-karts it says no bumping?
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
I thought it said drafting is encouraged.
No, see, I missed that part actually. But I saw the sticker that said no bumping, so I'm waiting to pass somebody that's in front of me and take the lead because I was on pace for maybe the best lap of the day. Maybe not.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden I get this bump from behind. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. What was that? And then you go flying by me right there, and then you split two cars in front of me, and you're like, bam, gone out of the way like that.
Hey, when you see the hole, you got to go. It's a race. You got to go to the front.
I saw that, and I'm like, this guy. I mean, that was so easy for you to do that. Is it that easy really on the racetrack?
No, it's much tougher out in the big leagues. But pole position raceway can get you a feel that you get to learn what racing lines are out on the track and how to anticipate other guys' moves. I think that's the best thing about go-kart racing.
Now, I have to be honest. We did, 10 laps, I believe it was, earlier today. My arms are still shaking a little bit, and this is like 45 minutes after the race. I'm guessing that you're used to this, but how much does the race actually take out of you physically every week?
Yeah, that's a tough thing that's underrated in racing in general, whether it's open wheel or stock cars, that you get worn out. There's fatigue, especially in stock cars, how hot it is inside the car, and then you have to perform the driving duties for 4 hours. I mean, the G-forces push against you, the arm pumps, like you're saying, got to you, and so it's something you learn over time, but yet there's a lot of training involved.
You know, one thing that I don't think is talked about very much either is the travel time for you guys. I mean, more than any other sport, because it seems like Jimmy Johnson just won the Cup, last week, basically. And now you guys are on the road, basically, probably 50 weeks out of the year almost, the way it seems?
It goes by that quick. I mean, we race Valentine's Day to Thanksgiving. That's the bottom line. There's only a couple off weeks in there, but then during the off season, it's taken right back up with testing, the year-end banquet, which is great. It's a year-end celebration of the year's achievement. But yet, it just seems like you said, we were in Homestead the other day picking up the last trophy of the year, and then here we are.
How many days a week, I guess, during the year do you actually average being at the house back east?
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep track this year and see if it's 50-50 on the road versus at the house, but there's not going to be any way. We're on the road 4 days out of the week. We travel the 5th, so if you add in 2 more, we're usually doing appearances or out doing things with our sponsors, so it's a busy schedule.
It has to be crazy because Daytona just a couple of days ago, California coming up, yet you're in Las Vegas right now doing this for pole position, so it's got to be nonstop. What does the wife think about that?
Yeah, she's saying that I work a bit too much,
yeah.
But I'm like, hey, I got to go. I'm in demand. 10 years from now, I hope I'm in demand, but there's going to be these young kids that bump me out of my ride, so it's great. I love traveling. I love racing. And especially here in Vegas, my hometown, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a great race, and stopping by pole position to see some friends and race some karts.
Speaking with Kurt Busch here on ESPN Radio 1100. Now, I read somewhere that you met your wife on, correct me if I'm wrong, like July 27th of 03. You got engaged 2 years later on the same day in Prague. Is that correct? And then you got married 1 year later. How does this happen?
It was beautiful, Dad. I don't know how July 27th worked out as it did, but I kept telling my buddy, I'm like, I don't want to meet any girls, and I put her off for like 3 months, and she didn't know who I was. That was the best part.
Right, this is a great part of the story, actually.
She thought that I was a veterinarian, and so when we had this blind date, it was a Sunday night. I ended up finishing second at the racetrack. So I've got all these post-race interviews. I'm late. I'm like 3 hours late. Well, she didn't care. She was out with her girlfriends having a great time. So she rolls in later than I did, and we hit it off. The veterinarian thing lasted about 30 seconds, though, because my mug was up on ESPN News, finishing second. She's like, is that you? And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. So I had to dig out of a hole right away.
That's a great story. And then you got engaged over in Prague?
Got engaged in Prague a couple years later. It was an off week, in July, and then we had the same off week the next year, and that's what helped us get married on the same date. So a little bit of a romantic. I do my best, but she's a girl that definitely deserves it.
Now, I've never been there before, but I have friends that tell me that the beer in Prague is outstanding. Can you compare like a 16-ounce ice cold glass of Prague beer to a Miller Lite?
I don't know if it ever gets ice cold over there. They're not so much into refrigeration as much as we are in America. But the Peroni was great, and of course I was trying to find some Miller Lites. But the best places are just the hole-in-the-walls that serve Guinness on tap. That was great, but can't go without saying the Miller Lites, but they're tough to find over there.
I can imagine. That's voice of Kurt Busch here on ESPN Radio 1100. When you won the Cup a couple of years ago, and then when Jimmy's done so well over the past few years, obviously, okay, everybody at this level, you're all good drivers, okay? And we all know about the team, we all know about the crew, we know about how good the cars have to be, but when a guy's having a special year, like you did a few years back, or like Jimmy has had in the past, what's the difference there between him and everybody else, or you and everybody else a few years ago?
You know, everything's just clicking, and when you go from racetrack to racetrack, it seems like you're a step ahead instead of a step behind. And when you race the race, let's just say you've got a 10th place car, and by the end of it, you finish third, and you don't know how you did it, that's when you know things are going your way. And Jimmy Johnson, last year, I was running strong with my little brother and Martin Truex Jr. at Atlanta, and we all pitted about 10 laps to go, and because you need tires at Atlanta. Jimmy Johnson, we didn't even see him all day. He ends up taking 2 tires, zigzags and weaves on the restart, and wins the race. When it's your year, it's your year.
Yeah. And of course, you have Las Vegas coming up in a few weeks. You've been asked this a million times already, but deep down, because you're from here, obviously, it has a lot of meaning coming out here every single year, I guess.
It does. You know, we raced the Daytona 500 to start our year. It's like the Super Bowl of racing, and then when I come out to California, West Coast, it starts amping up. And I love Vegas because from here, and it feels like another Daytona 500 for me. I'd love to bring it home for the hometown crowd.
Good luck, Kurt.
Thank you.